Commissioner Weir, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Now, but wait till we.
All right, I just want to make sure you can hear us, Commissioner Kern or Commissioner Weir, County Attorney.
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. We go.
You're ready.
All righty. We'll go ahead and call the regular scheduled meeting for October 22nd for the Colfax County Board of Commissioners to order. If you would please silence any electronic devices at this time, and please stand and join us for the pledge. Commissioner Kern, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, and see its symbol of perfect friendship among the United States.
We'll go ahead and move on to item number 4, approval of the agenda. Commissioners, we would like to strike item number 18, and I'd like to postpone items 10 and 11. So striking number 18 is discussion action, client service treatment agreement for the Behavioral Health Collaboration Members Agency, non-Medicaid services between Falling Colors and the VMDC MAT program. This was actually approved during our last meeting. Items number 10, discussion action resolution number 2024-39, a quarterly budget adjustment. And discussion number 11, discussion action resolution number 2024-41, a financial quarterly report. We just received those a little too late to do a proper review, so I'd ask that those be postponed to the next meeting. It's strike 18, that is correct. Commissioners, is there any other changes to the agenda that you'd like to see made? If seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
You're muted, Commissioner Weir.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to item number 5 is approval of regular meeting minutes for October 8th, 2024. Commissioners, if there's no corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as they stand.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to item number 6 is recognition of visitors. If you would, please stand and introduce yourself just for the record. I appreciate everyone coming today. I'll go ahead and announce who is online with us. We have our Commissioner Weir join us remotely, County Attorney June Rowe, and Ty, our contract CPA. Mr. Sotos.
Amadeo Soto, IT.
Leonard Baca, County Sheriff.
Jack Jones with the Colfax County Sheriff's Department.
Sarah Torres, Chief Deputy Clerk.
Michael Muniz with the Manager's Office.
Susie Valdez with the Manager's Office.
Danielle Avila with Manager's Office.
Regina Slade, Warden, Viejo Maldonado Detention Center.
Robert Thompson, citizen.
Robert Horner, citizen.
David Wingo, citizen.
Terry Garcia, citizen. Larry Gallegos, citizen.
Jake Padilla, citizen.
Tom Jones, County resident. Stephen Jones, County resident.
Leah Wheeler, Baca Valley Telephone.
Stephen McConnell, McConnell Law Office for Sierra Communications, Inc.
Paul Breach with Baca Valley Telephone and Sierra Communications.
She did it. She did.
Here.
Todd Tatum, District 3, U Park.
Ron Smite, citizen.
Jeannie Tatum's a county resident and business owner in Ute Park.
Nate Sandoval, County Fire Marshal.
Tom V. Hill, Emergency Management. Glenn Stevens, Road Department.
Deborah Swaggerty, county resident.
Polly Cacciatore, county resident.
Jerry Miller, Mesa View Realty.
Joy Feldman, Cavanis Acres, resident.
Jim Hellman, resident.
Brian Moffett, County resident.
Anita Moffett, county resident.
Michael Pius, County resident.
Johnny Redlick, County resident.
Danny Vukanich, County resident.
Joaquin Gutierrez, county resident.
Penny Lopez, county resident.
So next we'll move on to public comment. We'll limit public comment to 3 minutes. If this is something that's not on the agenda, or if public comments for something that's not listed on the agenda, if you have something that is public comment, when we come to that point on the agenda, we'll allow for public comment. And like I said, we'll limit it to 3 minutes. Mr. Vihil.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Real quick, wanted to give an update on the storm. One particular item I've gotten a lot of questions on, so I wanted to address that publicly. Really nice storm, actually. 4 to 6 inches are the average reports coming in. We have some that are a little bit higher, but kind of the official numbers hide between 4 and 6 inches over about a 4-day period. Overall, storm impacts were minimal given the benefits we got from the moisture. Some light flooding on some of the county roads. Highway 64 had some rocks come down. And really given the amount of rain over the time, everything that we'd expect. So nothing truly drastic. I think Maxwell kind of got the brunt of it as far as the highest water seen, in some of the significant flooding. But again, the only major impact I want to report on is the suspected tornado. If you haven't heard, there was a suspected tornado, and it's funny we use that word, but I'll get into why. Happened over by Laughlin Peak on the Coonco Ranch. Wasn't really observed by anyone. That's the main reason it's called a suspected tornado, but also the data isn't available from the National Weather Service. This particular event happened in one of our radar blind spots. If you're unaware, radar coverage for Colfax County is from Albuquerque, Clovis, and Pueblo. Given the mountain ranges in between us and them, we have a number of dead spots where National Weather Service is essentially blind. That particular area, they're blind to anything that happens under about 20,000 feet. So their available data shows the storm as it comes into the blind spot and exits out of the blind spot. They're able to do a little bit of computer modeling of what that wind event, that tornado actually potentially look like, but again, without full confirmation, they can't really call it a tornado. Damage impacted, there was an old bunkhouse, about 150-year-old bunkhouse that was completely destroyed. The barn had some damage. I think a windmill got taken out. The house had some minor damage. And it being a suspected tornado, they can't actually rate it on the familiar F scale, but some of the data suggests it's probably an F2. Possibly on an F3. It really didn't show the wind speeds to give it an F3, although the damage sustained gave it the rating of an F3. But again, we're talking about a 150-year-old building that got taken out by that. So it's not surprising that it wouldn't hold up to, even significant wind event. an F2 would give. But wanted to notify you guys of that, make it on public record that that's why it is a suspected tornado, is we really don't have the solid data to back up it being a tornado or not being a tornado. That being said, yeah, there was a tornado that hit out there, and that's kind of how we reflected on the record. So with that, any questions?
Commissioner Kern?
No questions. Thank you, Tom.
Commissioner Weir?
No questions.
Questions? Thank you, Tom.
Thanks.
Is there any further public comment? Mr. Pies?
Morning, Commissioners. I have 3 things for you this morning. One is on this proposed ordinance for Linwood Acres and everything. Nothing was put out about the vehicles, how many we're allowed to have, what you're considering, abandoned, junk. I'd like to, hear what that is before I can support it.
Yes, and we will discuss that when we get to that item point.
Okay, so you want me to wait then?
Yes,
Okay.
if this is for what's not on the agenda.
I apologize.
No, you're okay. If you do have any public comment, please come up over here and we'll speak into the mic. Is there any further public comment? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 8. Discussion, action, and approval to publish form of notice of intent to adopt ordinance number 2024-05, amending the Colfax County ordinance number 2021-02 for publication. So this is, I'm assuming why most people are here today. I did want to speak to you all first before we allow some public comment, and we're more than happy to hear a lot of your stuff. So a lot of the individuals, I know someone posted this particular flyer out east of town in the subdivisions. I'm sure you all seen it on your door, mailbox, trash cans, you name it. This is misinformed from a lot of this. This, first off, has nothing to do with the city of Raton. There's no annexation that's going to happen. So annexation, including going in the city of Raton, extending their reach and bringing it into their city limits. So that part's not valid. And I just wanted to bring some truth to this, and I just wanted to address this first. And I do appreciate it, though. It actually, I got to hear from a lot of you, most people. Most people were from reading this. I'd understand why I'd be frustrated and upset too. And it says a lot of people moved out here, that there's no HOAs or covenants and bylaws. I would just state that a lot of those subdivisions within Colfax County have covenants. If you purchase those properties and they said there is not covenants, I'd encourage you to go to the county clerk and look up the covenants that aren't there. There is a subdivision act within Colfax County and the state that regulates subdivisions within the county. So I did want to state that. It says, want to authorize enforcement by the sheriff's office, and they would send you the bill. That is incorrect. And the way this ordinance is presented, it's only regarding junk vehicles. And the bill would be sent to the homeowner of where that vehicle is. If after the due process anything occurred, that's where it would be. I've heard a lot of complaints. Why would the sheriff need to do this? This is actually by New Mexico state statute that the sheriff will enforce the subdivision act. That's 1978 47-6-27. I'm sorry, I'm just reading this. And it says, is this discrimination? Now, if we did it just for Meadowlark, Canvas Acres, and Linwood, possibly. but that is not the case. We are looking to do this within every subdivision of Colfax County. So when we say that the city or the county are just trying to do the subdivisions east of Raton, that's incorrect. Once again, this has nothing to do with the city of Raton. And what this is this ordinance, it's clearly defined, and if you would like a copy, we'd be more than happy to provide you a copy today so you could be better informed and educated. But in hearing from you all, I did hear that it would be good to have to allow some junk vehicles to a certain degree. And I'm going to ask my commissioners, and I know Commissioner Kern may have some feedback, and Commissioner Weir, that this, I would like to see that we could add 3 vehicles to be allowed as junk, in the sense that, in talking to you all, that if there's vehicles that you're working on, let's say you like a certain year Jeep, right? Like a 1950s Jeep, but you go out and purchase 2 or 3 of them, and it takes you time to get them together, and you get it and you create a whole Jeep, and that's perfectly understandable. And the way I see this ordinance, the ultimate goal is to stop junkyards, I guess, from occurring. Or if you're going to have a junkyard, as far as a junk vehicle yard, that you would, put up proper fencing and everything else. And I assure you that when we brought this up, we're bringing this up just because it's an issue. We're not looking to do it just to do it, to make laws. And this is occurring across the county, and the only way that we could discuss it as a commission is if we put it on agenda and discuss it and hear it out. And it also gives an opportunity for you all here to come here today and ask questions and provide your feedback. Commissioners, is there anything more you'd like to state at this time? If not, I'll open it up for public comment. Commissioner Kern?
I guess at this time, all I'd like to say is, I've got a lot of calls and a lot of emails surrounding this. Probably the most I received in my 8 years with the county, with the exception of the Second Amendment sanctuary resolution we did years ago. I haven't supported this. I don't support it. In talking to one very smart individual early this morning and stuff, they made the suggestion that maybe each of the subdivisions enforce or reconsider, rewrite their own covenants. I would be more in favor of that as a local control rather than the county trying to force something, a governance, bigger government. I would rather see each of the subdivisions control themselves. And I'm not suggesting form an HOA or anything like that, but you can do a homeowners association and rewrite your covenants and self-govern. I think there's a better way to do it. I understand where this is coming from, and yeah, there's a problem in some areas, but it's not everywhere. People move outside of the city for a reason, and I support that. I don't want to live in town either, and I don't. So I would like to reserve the right to speak again later, but that's where I'm at right now.
Of course. And then just for my commissioners, I ask that if we take action on this, our next action won't happen till December, our December meeting, with the next vote on this, just to allow the public and the county better to inform the public of what's being proposed. So, Commissioner Weir, was there anything further?
No, the only thing that I thought, having read through the proposed ordinance, is I think that the timing on it is a little tight. it says that a vehicle that is not, I don't remember the exact words, but not functioning for 30 days. To me, that and then the 15 days to respond and those things, my recommendation would be to double those. So 60 days and 30 days, I think would be more reasonable. But yeah, other than that, I am in favor of this ordinance.
Thank you, Commissioner Ware. And I would agree with you on that, to doubling that time frame to allow for extra time. So at this time, I'll go ahead and we'll allow public comment. If you'd like to come up to the mic, just introduce yourself one more, and you'd be limited to 3 minutes.
Michael Pice again. I guess I could do it now. You say 3 vehicles? I have 3 Jeeps right now that I bought that are collectors that I'm trying to get parts for. I've had them for a year and I'm still trying to find parts for them. So I'm over the 60-day limit. What are you going to do there? I collect old Jeeps. I mean, and I'm going to have old Jeeps and I'm not going to get rid of them. I'm sorry. That's what I do. 3 vehicles, I think is kind of, if you go maybe 5, 6, but people be getting 10 and 20, I could see, yes, the issue with that. But, I have my mother's 56 Chrysler. She passed away. What am I going to do with that? Nobody wants it. I'm not going to crash it because with my mother-in-law's, it can be restored. I mean, I understand your point of people having junkyards there. I've seen them. But those of us that are collecting cars, why punish us for somebody that has 30 cars in their yard that doesn't take care of them? I mean, I put mouse poison in my cars to keep mice out of them. I keep rid of the snakes. My second issue is you guys are putting this ordinance. We have to deal with the ordinance with the cities, with the ETZ. And now this, did you guys talk to the city to work this out? Because the ETZ has to do with all the ordinances, the covenances, granting building permits, setbacks, on all that other stuff. Is this going to be part of that, or is this something separate?
So, Mr. Pice, we can't answer back during public comment, but we will address it here later when the commission.
Okay, because I am on the ETZ board. That's why I'm asking, because we have to have hearings on this stuff.
Yeah.
And that was my question. But, I think if you do a reasonable amount of vehicles, I'm in support of it. But like I said, 10, 20 or 30 vehicles, I can't see that out there. Then you are becoming a junkyard, but people that collect cars that are trying to fix them, it's hard to get parts for some of these older vehicles. That's, where my stance is. That's why I'm upset about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert Thompson. I agree with Michael. There is a difference. But I, for one, that's why we have property out there, is to kind of not have to go with all these city ordinances. It's hard enough to deal in town. And there is a difference between junkyards and keep collectible cars. There should be no reason why we're not allowed to do that. If it keeps going here, how far is it going to go? Are you going to go to some of these ranchers? I mean, to me, this is like where it's headed. You want to tell them they can't have their equipment? I don't think that would go either. So my thing is, yes, there might need to be regulations, but it needs to be worked out with everybody, not just a few stating that a couple vehicles is a junk. I for one, I have vehicles too, and I have to get parts for, so I have more than one. We got campers, we got tractors. So there again, you want to limit that? So all I'm asking is to really consider that not everything is junk to everybody. We all have different views on what is junk. And I get that. But I don't think because a couple think there's a junkyard or a few think it's a junkyard, that is necessarily a junkyard. To me, the definition of a junkyard is selling parts out of it, dismantling vehicles, and that, not just keeping them to fix them up.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for your time and consideration. I just want to bring up the simple fact that we do have a constitution, both federal and state constitution. And any statute, law, ordinance that is repugnant or against the Constitution and supporting people's rights is null and void. So the statute that you mentioned earlier about sheriffs having the right to infringe on people's property is null and void. It's against the state and federal constitution, people's right to own and possess property and dispossess their property as they see fit. It's against, do you guys have an oath of office to support the said constitution? And if you guys support this ordinance, you're violating your oath of office. And then also in the ordinance that was sent out to the public, it states that the sheriff can come and cite people. So you're saying that the sheriff should violate their oath of office as well by trespassing on people's property and sending bills. And then it said that they would be, the homeowner would be responsible, but you have no right to tell people how to dispose of their property as they see fit without just compensation. So unless you're going to be giving people money for these vehicles that you're allegedly going to be citing and taking from their property, you have to give them just compensation for their property. And we have to uphold our rights. And if we don't speak up for our rights, then we have no rights. So therefore, as a community, we're speaking up for our rights. And I'm just saying that if you guys support this, Commissioner Ware said he was supporting this. Ms. Kern said she was not. If you do support this, you're violating your oath of office. Thanks for your time and consideration. Have a good day.
Thank you. Mr. Jones.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Tom Jones. I reside at Cavernous Acres. I'm concerned about this ordinance, the problems it could bring up. Simple problems such as neighbors arguing with each other instead of being neighborly. It could escalate into physical violence. We've seen it happen before. And then if someone is allowed to call the sheriff regarding what is in some neighbor's yard, I see a problem there. You know what I mean? Doesn't the sheriff have more important things to do than somebody doesn't like a Buick parked in my yard or whatever it may be? What about the people that own Grandpa's truck or Uncle Bill's Buick, like I said? And that falls under your ordinance and you call it junk, but it might be their pride and joy. Little Joey remembers his grandpa taking him in this truck and they got it stuck in the mud. Now it needs a clutch. So he's trying to fix Grandpa's truck. It happened to be the ugliest Ford ever made, in '93 Ford 3/4 ton. But Joey loves that truck. It was Grandpa's. And you're going to take away his pride and joy? And then you're going to charge him for taking it away? That is wrong on so many levels. Now, I have personally had my neighbors call and complain about my supposed junk. However, none of the vehicles in public view, Monty can attest to this. None of the vehicles in public view at my property fall underneath this category that you have described as junk. Every vehicle I have is more than 35 years old. And they are all restoration projects. And you want to up it. It used to be 2 vehicles that you could have per parts cars on a collector. Well, you want to up that to 3. I don't see a problem with that, but the neighbors are going to be really mad when they do send the sheriff to my house and he can't do nothing. I also want to know if the sheriff is called and they do get a ticket and they cannot move these cars at a designated time frame, where are you going to tow them to? Do you have a impound yard or something? You have a place that you're planning on storing all these cars? And another issue that nobody has thought about is me being a mechanic for the past 40 years. I've dealt with cars that don't have a title. And I am not allowed to take them to the scrapyard without a title. They will not take them. They cannot take them because of the liability. This ordinance is basically allowing people to say what their neighbors can and cannot own on their personal property. Last time I checked, we live in a free country, United States of America, which my son served in the United States Marines to protect that right. You're giving the people power so they could tell their neighbors what they could possibly keep in their yard. You realize this ordinance is basically high-end theft. You could steal from someone with the sheriff's help or whatever you want to word it. And then you charge them because you came in their yard and took their personal property. That's theft. And this whole ordinance sounds like communism to me, but hey, that's just my opinion.
Mr. Jones, you're at 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, my name is Stephen Jones. And a couple of problems that I've seen with this is it tends to target the low income side of the county more than anyone else, because generally they're the ones that have junk vehicles or things they can't repair. And that's always a concern I see with these sort of laws. And of course, the sheriff's already overwhelmed, the county's overwhelmed, everyone's overwhelmed. The entire economy is having trouble, and we're going to fine people for having things that they can't deal with already. And I don't know what to do about that, but that doesn't seem right to me. So I don't support being able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Vukinich.
Hello, my name is Danny Vukinich. I'm a county resident, and I'm thinking if you pass this ordinance, I think it's going to be opening a can of worms for future ordinances that people request if they don't like the color of your house, or if you have chickens or ducks or whatever it might be. So when are you going to stop this, and how are you going to control what's happening in the future with some of these requests? So that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Padilla.
My name's Jake Padilla. I've had cars out there in the field for more than 30 years. What am I gonna do with them? What does your ordinance say about them?
Like I said, we can't comment during the public comment, but we'll have a ordinance available for you to read, and it will detail that out.
Well, you don't have a title for them. You don't have nothing for them. How can you get rid of them? And do you want to get rid of them? So I don't think your ordinance is worth a darn, but that's my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further public comment at this time?
Yeah, my name's Joaquin Gutierrez. Live in Linwood Acres. I've been there since 1972. We never had problems with the junk and stuff. There's all these new people coming in. They want to change everything to our livelihood. I own 20 acres out there. I use it for my ranch operation. I have tractors. I have trailers. I have 3 or 4 different pickups. I use it to ranch and stuff. Where do I want to stand? I can't even, you guys come over here and try and tell me how to live. What about you? How'd you like me to come to your property and tell you how to live? On your little 50 by 100 lot. I got 20 acres out there. And for my agricultural use, I want to know where I stand. With everybody calls it junk. Junk to you might be is not junk to me. These people come in, they come out of town and want to change everything. That's bad. Look, these people, we made a living out there for all these years with no problems. All of a sudden, you guys want to change everything. Our subdivision was started in 1970. And the other subdivision started, but I own 20 acres out there. I want to know what you guys think about whether your acres are going to stop. And why do I have to have people come to my property and tell me how to live? Because I got a living Everybody else got their own living. And it's a shame that people have to come to tell everybody else how to do things. And I was there long before anybody was out there. I was wondering about the third people on that subdivision out there. And nobody, we had no problem, no nothing. All of a sudden, this comes up. People need to understand that people need to have their own privacy and have somebody come to my property. Trust my property, tell me how to live. I've been there long enough, and I've been there probably longer than you people have been alive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning. The name is David Wingo, W-I-N-G-O, not Wiggle. And I've got one concern. You folks come up with these regulations and everything, and I want to know where you're going to come up with the money to do this, to haul a person's car off when you can't come up with the money to repair a road that your county road is washing out. I live in Meadowlark. You got a county road east Robin Lane. The water coming off the county road. There's no maintenance to direct the water to go down the sides of the road where there's culverts for the water to run in. The water goes right down the middle of the road and it's washing it out. And I'm advised by one of your commissioners, you don't have the money to take the road over. It's our responsibility to buy the material and you'll spread it. It don't need spread, it needs fixed. The water needs to be controlled. That's another issue. And my issue is you don't have the money to do that. Where are you going to get the money to haul these people's cars off? We're going to pay for it, aren't we? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further public comment? All right, seeing none. Commissioner Weir?
No, Mr. Chairman, I've made the comments I wanted to make.
Thank you. Commissioner Kern?
Thank you. Just since everybody didn't speak, I would just like to have a show of hands. Those that are in attendance here because of this ordinance, and that those that are in favor, I would like you to raise your hand just for our information. If you're in favor of this ordinance, please raise your hand as written. Those that are opposed to it, please raise your hand. Thank you. That's all I have right now.
All right. Well, with that, if I agreed to this, I wouldn't raise my hand because I'd be here with a mob, just to Commissioner Kern's vote. I will address some of those issues. And like I said, I'm more than happy to be transparent and help provide any information I can. I don't have a say on this right now, which way I go. I do see both sides. Would I vote today to extend this? I would with those amendments, but I would vote so to allow the public to be properly informed and to have enough time. At that point, in our December meeting, then we would make that decision. Regarding East Robin Lane, I know this one, it's in my district. I've talked to our county roads manager several times. East Robin Lane is not a county maintained road. It is a road, but it's not a county maintained road. The county is willing to accept it. It just has to be brought up to county maintained standards. And that's where Mr. Wingo was talking about having to pay for culverts and base gravel. Regarding the ETZ mostly has to do with the city of Raton and their ordinances. So we did not consult the city since this does not necessarily involve the city. It's just county, and it goes county-wide within all county subdivisions. I believe the individual that came up was referencing the 14th Amendment regarding property seizure. With that, the 14th Amendment does discuss what is it? June, help me out here.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. I believe that the 14th Amendment issue pertaining to due process has been drafted in this ordinance issue. So basically what happened was that the owner or occupant of the junk vehicle determined by the county and is given written notice with sufficient details and timeline for the compliance. And then there's opportunity to appeal that notice within 15 days to the county commission. And then the county commission approve that matter. That matter should be go to the criminal or civil action allowed under the statute. So meaning that the owner has opportunity to be heard in the county level and then the district court level, making sure that they have notice to be heard and then the protest about their right to be heard in the court. And then I think that there's some of the discussion about the definition of the junkyard, and then we have been discussed about that too. And then the antique vehicles and collectibles are not exempt, and we have I think a commission put several exemption of the vehicles over there too. And then and also I think if there's anything else that we need to extend some deadline on that matter, that'll be that'll be possible. And I think this is something that the county did not act its own to create this type of procedure, and then there's a statutory requirement under Subdivision Act to enforce the subdivision, and also there's a Public Nuisance Abatement Act, meaning that if there is any public nuisance to be declared based upon this ordinance, that should be something can be abated, and then those matter to be heard before the civil court or criminal court, and then the judge will hear the evidence from both sides and decide. And then of course from the current subdivision ordinance at this time, that the county can request that all the cost and then expenses should be reimbursed from the owner. So that's why it'll be critical to have that. And then this is given to the county under the Constitution about the police power to maintain and protect the public safety and then public nuisance. But I think that I agree with all the commissioners that we need to have more discussion and then to fine tune this ordinance.
Thank you, County Attorney. I just wanted to state here too, and we'd be more than happy to provide a copy of this ordinance to any of you all. Under exemption 3, this is just going to answer some of the other questions. A vehicle retained by an owner for antique collection purposes and actively being restored is exempt. So Mr. Pice, I feel like your vehicles that you mentioned would fall underneath this exemption. I've heard about this would put neighbors against neighbors. That's already occurring. That's why it's being addressed today, just amongst the commission. I do see both sides. I do. And some of the complaints that I have are from people that have lived out there for 30 years too. Most of the wealth that an individual holds is in their house that they own. And I've seen people that have lived out there and they've purchased their home. But don't get me wrong, the individual that has the farm, we're not going after your trailers, your tractors. That's not it. We're just looking at your junk vehicles. But when you have your home and you work hard, you save, you invest in it, and let's say you're older now, you want to move to where your kids move to get closer to your grandchildren. You go to sell your house, you're going to have to sell it for under market value or however that goes, just because the condition of the neighborhood you live in now. I do see both sides. I really do. So that will I'll just leave it at that right now. There's a bunch of other questions. I mean, I could probably answer some of those questions. But that is it, Commissioners, is there anything further?
Mr. Chairman, I would suggest, since we have these two ordinances, that we make it easily accessible on our website for people to find these. I don't know if Mr. Soto could just put a tab on the very first page to where they can find them, because you have to delve extremely deep into our website to find the current proposed ordinance. So I would suggest that we make it a lot easier to find that.
I agree with that.
And, you know, I question, I know Mr. Rowe had commented about, you know, that they could come to the county, that we talked about the due process and that. You know, as a commissioner, I have absolutely no desire to get into due process. I don't want to be the one making the judgment on who's, you know, what's in somebody's yard and what you call junk. You know, how do we define that? What do we consider to be an antique? I'm an antique, but you know, is it 10 years, 20 years, 50 years? You know, we're getting off into something here that I just don't think we need to be in. And if we're gonna pass it, then we need to get the dang thing cleaned up and stuff, and due process needs to be addressed. I don't feel like it's adequately addressed in this. And I think it needs to go to the court. It needs to be cited into court, not cited to the commission, not cited to the county manager, not cited to the county attorney, you know, running up more fees, cited into court and give them guidance on what the penalties are. But I'm still opposed. It doesn't matter.
Good. Well, at this time, so I'll make a motion to approve the changes as Commissioner Weir stated, doubling the time. And I'd ask that this be brought back before the commission in December for our meeting. And this time, and I'd also ask the county manager to get with IT and make sure, I actually like that idea. Maybe we just have a tab that says proposals at the top, just for moving forward into the future. Where this could be stated for all public to see. And we could, so there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Madam Clerk, there's been a motion and a second.
Mr. Kern?
No.
Mr. Weir?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you all very much. And Michael, if you would please to see that once this is updated, that copies are made available here for our constituents. All right. Moving on to item number 9, discussion action approval to publish form of notice to intent to adopt ordinance number 2026-06, an ordinance authorizing the operation of recreational off-highway vehicles on all county roads, streets owned and controlled by Colfax County, including exemptions on vehicles for publication. At this time, is there any public comment? Ms. Tatum.
Good morning, Commissioners. I read the changes in ordinance 2024-06 and just have a few comments. I'm sorry I didn't email this to you ahead of time. We kind of had storm issues. I see that you're trying to compromise on this issue, but I still believe this ordinance is unenforceable and dangerous. But with that said, I have a suggestion to put before you today. Rather than force an all county road ordinance countywide, have the residents that wish to ride recreational off-highway vehicles on their county road sign a petition requesting that road be given allowance to do so, and then proceed with that group. Our county is very diverse, and I just don't think this is a good fit countywide on all county roads. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tatum. Mr. Vukinich.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm for or against this ordinance, but just keep in mind that when any of these vehicles that you're gonna allow on or possibly allow on county roads come off the showroom floor as an off-road vehicle, they're not equipped for what you're gonna dress them up with, blinkers and taillights and all that stuff. So in the long run, if one of these off-road vehicles gets in an accident, somebody is hurt or killed, does that allowing the county to be liable for that situation? That's what I'm looking at.
Thank you, Mr. Vukinich. Is there any further public comment? Mr. Gutierrez.
Good morning. My name is Julian Gutierrez, and I personally don't own one of those vehicles, but I have family and friends that do. And I know that my friends, my son, their vehicles are registered with the state of New Mexico, and they're insured in the state of New Mexico. So to answer the gentleman's question there, most likely the county will not be liable for it because if everybody's following the rules about how to register these vehicles and stuff, then the owner of that vehicle is responsible for the accident, whether it's his fault or not, or, you know, normal legalities as a normal vehicle. And yes, I could understand that there's some crazies out there. We got them driving regular vehicles anyway. But like I said, I think for the county, it's a good thing. I know the ranchers have an issue with it. It's been brought in the past where they're exempt. They were exempt on this, but if this passes, now the ranchers also have to do the same thing. I don't know the legalities of all that. Like I said, educating ourselves is our problem. But you know, and I could see both sides because even now I still see kids out there in their four-wheelers and their ATVs, where again, it goes back to responsibility of the parents teaching these kids and not allowing them. You still have to be a registered, lawful licensed person to be driving in the county roads. So again, it goes back to taking the responsibility on ourselves if we want this to be passed, which I think it's a good idea. My son uses it to throw trash, to give his kids rides around not only his property, but in the county roads, you know, and of course, his kids, he does everything by the book, puts his seat belts on. My grandchildren have their helmets on, and his vehicle has the blinkers, is tagged, has everything that a normal vehicle has. So I think a lot of it is, you guys should pass it, but as to the public that has these vehicles, let's be responsible for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gutierrez. Is there any further public comment? No? County Attorney, just to confirm for the commission that if this was passed, no liability would fall upon the county, correct?
So basically, sir, this ordinance is adopting the Off-Highway Vehicle Act under the New Mexico statute, sir. So we are following the state statute. So as long as we follow the state statute, and then the state should be liable for registering proper vehicle, and then making sure that they check on their the checklist to make sure that everything should be registered correctly, sir. So as long as those can be done, I do not see that any kind of issue from the county at this time. But I think those are my comment at this time, because we are just basically mirror the state statute, sir.
Thank you. Commissioners, Commissioner Weir.
Mr. Chairman, all I would say is that, the Village of Angel Fire adopted this, I want to say 5 years ago, it might have been longer. It's not a big issue in the Village of Angel Fire. People ride their UTVs on village streets, at will. And we hardly write any citations. I'm not saying we get zero, but we get very few complaints. And when it is complaints, it usually does deal with a parent that is letting their child ride in it, or the child's driving the vehicle. That seems to be something that is done, but that was being done before we adopted UTVs to be driven on our streets. So I think that this is something that we should support, and UTVs are becoming a bigger and bigger part of our culture, and to include them along with other vehicles to be able to be driven on county roads, I think is very appropriate.
Thank you, Commissioner Ware. Commissioner Kern?
Thank you. To me, up in the valley in Angel Fire, and that this totally makes sense because you have access to national forest land where you can ride. Here in the county, the rest of the county, we don't have that luxury. We only have access to state land, and it's illegal to ride them on state land. The sheriff's department has come out and said that within reason, they are opposed to it because they can't enforce it. They don't have the manpower to enforce it, and their consideration is safety. I campaigned on being a huge supporter of safety and infrastructure being the commission's major responsibility in this county. And as such, with the exception of the valley, I can't support this as just from a safety standpoint.
Thank you. I support this in the fact that we're going for law-abiding citizens. Those that are doing it illegally are doing it anyways right now. I've had constituents that live out east of town that get in their side by side, go to the dumpster and toss their trash, and the game and fish are over there citing them for illegal driving. If you have one of these vehicles and you abide by the law, then you know what? You should be able to do what you want to do with that vehicle. If you are a tax-paying citizen, you help pay for these county roads. What should restrict you from just where you live? If you want to drive on other county roads, I believe you should have the right to drive on other county roads. That's where I stand on this. So that's it. Anything further from the commission? Seeing nothing further, I'll entertain a motion to approve for.
So moved.
I'll second that. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Kern? No. Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to item number 10, discussion action resolution number 2024. Oh, I apologize. We postponed item 10 and 11, so I'll just state those for the record. Item 10, discussion action resolution number 2024-39, quarterly budget adjustment. And item number 11, discussion action resolution number 2024-41, financial quarterly reporting. Both have been struck from the agenda. Moving on to item number 12, discussion action approval to hire road and bridge administrative assistant. Is this the county manager?
Lynn, would you like to come up?
Morning, yes, Chairman and Commissioner. I feel this is a very much needed position to be filled. This is kind of a prime example. While I'm here, as soon as I walk out the door, our office stops. There's no one answering the phone or anything anytime I walk out the door. Many things happen at the road department. Just for a small example, last week, the blade in the Moreno Valley had a flat tire. I was the only one close to the shop to send him a tire up. He had a windrow in the middle of the road, which is a safety issue. So I load up a tire and take it to him. It takes at least a couple hours, 2.5 hours to get up there and back. And like I say, when I walk out of the door, the office stops. There's a lot of job duties for the administrative assistant. I have a few kind of wrote down. They provide administrative support to the road superintendent, including email, correspondence, letters, and spreadsheets. Experience work in an office environment, excellent communication skills, answering phone calls and responding to emails, responsible for answering phone calls, maintaining records, organizing files, and other general office duties. Strong computer skills, including proficiency in Microsoft Office, Word, and Excel. Ability to work independently, ensure optimal use of office equipment, supplies, and inventory. Recording information as needed within the office, greeting office visitors and vendors, ability to work with other department vendors and agencies, able to self-train is a big one. Unfortunately, when it comes to some of the job duties at this point is vacating of county roads. That was a big part of the administrative assistant. Also encroachment permits. An ability to very limited travel. Some local travel may be required. Attending county commissioner meetings is on my list. Any questions?
Commissioner Weir?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I do have a question. I don't know, I don't see Ty logged into the meeting, but my question is, was this position included in the budget that was passed?
Yes, it was.
It was, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Kirk?
No questions.
Glenn, I see where you're coming from with the need for this assistant. I know this is something new that Reed put in to help assist with this. I'm not sure how my other commissioners feel right now. I would vote no for the administrative assistant, but yes on your CDL operator. Just to the point that we're we're still overspending by 1.2. And we do need to reduce costs over time. So. Commissioner. Yes.
So, what I'd like to propose, I'm not making a motion because I want feedback, but I would like to see if we can postpone the administrative position. I still haven't heard final numbers from Ty on where we are because of the Tiger 3 questions and so on. And I don't want to, I really would like to see where the budget is in its entirety before I vote not to allow an admin position that does, provide service to the constituents. I agree with you that if we are still in a position of 1.2 million overspend, I don't see that we have a choice. And maybe you've seen numbers from Ty that confirm that amount, but I haven't seen those numbers yet. And so I would like to hear your thought on a motion to postpone until our next meeting, because Ty should have final numbers for us soon. The quarterly report's going to be due next week. So I'm imagining for her to file that quarterly report, we're going to have pretty exact numbers.
Thank you, Commissioner Weir. Commissioner Kern?
I would support Commissioner Weir's suggestion.
I'm on board with you all.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Weir. I would make a motion to postpone action on the administrative assistant position until the next meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Madam Clerk, it's been moved and seconded.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to item number 13, discussion action approval to hire road and bridge operator CDL driver. Mr. Stevens.
Yes. This is a road and bridge maintenance worker, just like all others. I want to make it perfectly clear that they're not just a CDL driver. They will be a regular road and bridge maintenance worker. They'll have all job duties as the rest of our employees. It is a position that's been open for quite some time. I'd like to fill that position.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Like I said prior, I support filling this position, and this is the position down near Abbott. Is that correct?
No, it'll be here in Raton.
Here in Raton?
Yeah.
Commissioner Ware.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Glenn, again, can you confirm that this position was included in the current budget?
Yes, according to my budget, it is funded for this position. It's not a new position. It's a position we've had. Just like the administrative assistant, the funds are there according to everything I get.
So this is not the position that you mentioned prior meeting that they were leaving? Okay.
It is not.
Thank you. Commissioner Kern.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Glenn, in your search here, would you be looking at somebody if they didn't have a CDL? I know it's preference to have one because you only have 2 people right now, yourself plus one other that has a CDL. But I mean, if you had a qualified individual that did not have a CDL but was a qualified operator, would they be considered? Or is the CDL? I guess what I'm asking is the CDL a deal breaker?
I prefer having a CDL employee. I have had several people apply that do have a CDL. That's what kind of opened the door on it. Like I said, they're not strictly just a truck driver for Colfax County. They would maintain roads just like everyone else, clean cattle guards, culverts, run other equipment as well, where needed, wherever they're needed.
So this is just necessarily a fill-in position?
Yes, at this moment.
And I apologize. Right now, I'm going to have to stick back to no on that one. I thought it was filling the one that was south near Abbott. So, commissioners, I don't know if you wanted to approve, postpone. I'll leave it up to a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'm actually on the fence over this one. And again, Glenn, do you think that this, if we postpone to the next meeting, is it going to impact your ability to fill the position? Because you said that you had several people apply, so I assume you're ready. If we approve this, you would make an offer, today. If you had to wait to make that offer, how would it impact the applicants that you have?
I think it would be a huge impact. I have gotten them for the last probably couple of months. And I've had several current ones. You know, I think it would be a huge impact on finding someone. It's been hard to find a CDL licensed person. So I would like to move on it right away if I could.
Commissioner Kern.
I'm a little bit like you, Versailles, in how you felt on this. So maybe I make a suggestion that if Glenn feels like he's got qualified applicants and everything, we allow this to be filled, and then we possibly look at holding the other position if it becomes open, and just force them to have to transfer somebody down there.
Mr. Chairman, I would agree with Commissioner Kern's suggestion.
Okay, I could agree with that. I feel like it's a good compromise. And Glenn, don't get me wrong, I want you to have all the help you need, especially for our constituents, but just with what's to come down the road, if we continue our spending, I know it'd have to be you know, pretty much a calling county-wide. So Commissioner Kern, would you like to make that in form of a motion?
Sure. I move to approve Road and Bridge to hire a operator / wish hopeful CDL driver.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Kern,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Moving on to item number 14 is discussion, the E911 incident / HR assistant job description. County Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The commission had requested that I go ahead and do a job posting, a job description, and that's what I provided the commission today. The E911 coordinator administrative assistant is essential in ensuring accuracy of emergency response systems and providing vital administrative support for smooth office operations. This role involves conducting field research to verify addresses, locations, names, house numbers, and street sign accuracy, maintaining up-to-date 911 database. The coordinator will also investigate addressing issues, routing, and mapping, liaison with relevant departments for resolution. As the commission will remember, we started this about 3 years ago when we recognized that there were issues with the E911. And I'll just give you a quick update on that. I did have the opportunity to telephone Tyler Fawcett, State of New Mexico GIS coordinator. We started, that was about 3 years ago. Colfax County was one of the worst in the state of New Mexico. We initially had reported 2,000 errors and then found another 6. Colfax County has come a long way with the E911 in the process. We incorporated Raton, Springer, Cimarron, Angel Fire. It took a lot of time to refine this data. And if the commission will remember, this was actually all paid for by the state of New Mexico. And we have all worked together, and I think it's been it's come together with us working with municipalities within Colfax County to correct all this, to correct the data and refine it. Right now, the state, and I just made this call to Tyler last week, said we are already looking at the next generation of E911 and are transitioning currently. We definitely need to get this position filled. It's vital. And we need to start training as soon as possible. The last time I did talk with Tiana, there were 40 issues that still needed to be addressed county-wide. So once again, this is a public safety issue. This is an essential part of the job we perform. And I appreciate the commission authorizing me to hire somebody for that position. And at the request of the commission, I did provide a job description and have provided it for you to review today.
Thank you, County Manager. Commissioners, Commissioner Ware.
Again, I'm going to ask this every time. So this position is included in the budget we currently have?
Yes, it is, sir.
And this is
if we vote to not approve this position, who would be responsible for handling these tasks?
For right now, the manager's office is down considerably on staff. We have lost staff. We had staff pass away recently that was responsible for this. This is also going to take an immense amount of training, especially with the next generation of software coming out. We need a full-time position. We need a full-time person in this position. And once again, it is vital to the safety of Colfax County. We've come a long way. The position was budgeted. The person was in that position, as I've stated, passed away. And we need to get that position filled. To answer your question, right now, the manager's office doesn't have the ability to assign anybody else within the manager's office to this position. We're still working on an audit. If you'll notice, I was the one that actually did the job description instead of HR, because we're all having to help each other in this time and assume different roles to function and to manage governmental operations for Colfax County.
And commissioners, just to let you know, this was just a discussion or a discussion item. I believe we approved the position last meeting.
Correct.
And Commissioner Kern was just requesting a job description for this. So no action is taken on this item.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Commissioner.
It is part of the commission's job duties and responsibilities to approve job descriptions. So this should have been a discussion/action item to approve the description. So it needs to be brought back as such. And both Michael and Mr. Gore were notified of that.
Okay, we can do that. Anything further from the commission? Oh, seeing nothing, we'll move forward. On to item number 15, discussion action, easement agreement between Colfax County and Sierra Communications, Inc., Tiger Drive North Fiber Project. Mr. McConnell.
Thank you. Stephen McConnell for Sierra Communication, Inc. The county attorney, Mr. Rowe, and I have collaborated in drafting an easement agreement by which the county will give Sierra Communications, Inc. an easement 25.9 feet by 25 feet square at its building north of the high school to allow Sierra Communications to place an equipment cabinet to be used in part for its fiber optic systems and services that it intends to build in Raton. Under this agreement, Sierra Communications will provide Colfax County buildings at the detention center, the sheriff's office, the Carolets Judicial Center, internet service with a bandwidth of 75 megabits, 750 megabits for the price of 50 megabits, 500, I did it again, megabits. And at the current rates, that results in a savings to the county of $200 per month. That's what we hope that the county will agree to sign this easement agreement.
Thank you, Mr. McConnell. Commissioner Ware? Anything?
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Kern?
No questions.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a comment?
Sure.
This is going to benefit our community, with broadband, correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you care to just, make a few comments as to how much that's going to benefit our community and the benefit that, our citizens are going to receive?
Sure, thank you. And I'm Paul Breach. I'm General Manager, Vice President of Baca Valley Telephone and Sierra Communications. We're currently undergoing a large fiber optic project in Raton. And we're going to have fiber to customers east of Second Street, all the way from up near Flowerland to Mesa Vista Vet Clinic, and then east, everybody east of Second Street. We were just awarded last week another project in the area by the Beehive Nursing Home, or what assisted living home that used to be the Beehive. We were awarded that last week, so we're starting on that already, as well as the golf course. So this cabinet, we need something centrally located to be able to serve these customers. And the best place is on Tiger Drive. This cabinet is a good location for that. I mean, we appreciate the county's assistance with it. I will go ahead. I know you're busy, but we were awarded a couple other projects in Colfax County. One is from Teal Ranch over Johnson Mesa into Bear Canyon. We'll be getting a fiber optic project, as well as Lambert Hills, Cimarron, as well as a new fiber cable from Raton to Maxwell. And then areas to the east of Maxwell will be getting the fiber optic as well. So the town of Maxwell is also included in parts of that. So we're excited about that. Just takes a huge amount of time, and resources are limited. Fiber optic cable is hard to get, equipment's hard to get, but we're excited that Colfax County was included in some of these new projects that we've been trying for. So thanks to the county. The road department has been great. We work with them a lot. And I want to thank the county for their help. I can answer any other questions if you like.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Breach. And just to let everyone know, this is going on the county property up at the corner of Tiger Drive, where the soy building, we know it as, is the soy building across from Mount Calvary Cemetery.
Correct.
So I have no further questions, and thank you all for what you're doing. Commission, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Then moved and second, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yes.
Paul, I'd just like to say thank you, because Sierra Communications and your group and yourself have always been extremely proactive in trying to provide the county and our residents the absolute best service you possibly can. And it's a big county, and I know you people are stretched thin in that, but you do an extremely commendable job, and I appreciate that, and so do my constituents.
Well, thank you. Madam Clerk, do we already have the vote? Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to item number 16, discussion action, financial policy, final approval. Commissioner Ware.
Yeah, I mean, I've read through this. I think it's good. It's actually a little bit different format than a lot of policies in that it's instructional. It doesn't just tell you what to do. It tells you why it's doing it, which, I don't think is a bad thing. This is not a procedure manual. This doesn't tell you necessarily step by step what you need to do to accomplish a task. So procedures would need to be developed to to fit within these policy guidelines. But the policy guidelines are sound. This is with the state. If you go to state classes and become certified as a financial professional, this is what the state teaches you to do. And these are the policies that they recommend you have in place. So, like I said, it's a little bit different format than I've seen with other places that were just more, not as informative as to why you would have a policy, but just more directive, I would say, in nature. This one is both not only directive, that explains the reasoning and the logic behind the policies that it's supporting. So anyhow, I think it's a good policy.
Commissioner Kern.
I think the content of it is very good, and that I would agree with what Commissioner Weir said. To me, it reads more like an instruction manual or a textbook, but the content is invaluable. So I'm not going to split hairs.
I'm still a little confused on it. I see that it's a financial policy and or procedure, and I'm reading it still kind of as a guidebook. Maybe I'm just not seeing something in here. That's just kind of where I stand on it. If we're going to be adopting a policy, it should actually, it's fine to state why we're doing it, but it needs to state how we're doing it. That's kind of what my thoughts are on it. I'll let anything further from the commission, or would you like to hear from the county manager?
Just real quick, Mr. Chairman, I don't disagree with what you said, and it kind of coincides with what I said. This is not a procedure manual. This is a policy manual. The actual steps that our staff will take to accomplish things are going to have to take into account software and other, other aspects of their job that they're going to have to do, and how communication is handled. So again, I do think it's the basis for developing a procedure, but as a policy manual in itself, which is all it is, again, I think it's good, but it's not everything. This is where you would adopt this, and then subsequent, you would have to develop procedures to go along with it, is in my opinion.
Well, I'd be fine adopting this as a financial guidebook to how we're going to create a financial policy. But I'm not okay with approving it as a financial policy and procedure.
Mr. Chairman, I would agree with that. I don't think the title is appropriate. I do find it as a financial guidebook, but not policy.
Commission, I don't know if you want to take any action on this. If not, we could bring it back to the commission at our next meeting and have it as a financial policy. Or go ahead, Commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, could we do it as an appendix to our current financial policy? I'm concerned that we're going to get in a situation where we have all these things titled financial policy, and we don't know, which one we're making reference to. And I think this being an extremely good guidebook would augment our current financial policy. And if the policy needs to be amended and updated, then we do so amending that policy. But to me, this is an augmentation.
Yes, I'm fine with that. Making it an appendix or an addition to our financial policy. Commissioner Ware.
Mr. Chairman, my only thing is that I don't know that I could vote for that, because I didn't compare the current policy to this manual, and I would want to do that before I voted it, because I want to vote on something that might cause a confliction with our current policy.
Yes, and I don't believe we could vote on that just from how it was stated on the agenda. Is that correct? Commissioner Kern?
I would concur with that, yes.
Yeah.
I would make a motion to postpone this, and ask that the county manager please send the current financial policy to all of the commissioners for review so that we can compare the two, because I do think that there are some contradictions. And as such, we need to define which one we're going to follow and make those amendments to the policy as well.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Ware?
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to item number 17, discussion action resolution 2024-40, a resolution approving the findings and proposed disposition / sale of inventory, including through auction. County Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what we have here is the resolution approving the findings and proposed disposition of inventory, including vehicles. I think vehicles was the number one item that we have. As the commission is aware, we have been working with Road and Bridge. We've been working with department heads to go ahead and eliminate a lot of the property that has been at the county shops for years and give Glenn some room out there. And I think this looks good. I think you've had the opportunity to review it. I did include a list of all the property to be sold. And I would recommend that the commission go ahead and approve this so we can get on with doing an auction.
Thank you, County Manager. Commissioners, Commissioner Ware, any questions?
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Kern?
No questions. It's time we get this done, and I find it that, it's very good that we do this before you try to pass the junk ordinance, since we have 30 some vehicles out there in the subdivision.
Yeah.
So I make a motion to approve.
I think we fall within the city on that, but yeah. No,
I'm sure they don't like it either.
I'm sure. I'm surprised you haven't been fined by them yet. So we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, it's been moved and seconded.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Yes. At this time, we'll just take a short 5-minute recess. There we go. Thank you, Commissioner Weir. You good? We'll go ahead and call this meeting back to order. Number 18, discussion action, client service treatment agreement for behavioral health collaboration members agency, non-Medicaid service between Falling Clovers and VMDC MAT program has been stricken from the agenda. Can we have silence in the auditorium, please? Moving on to item number 19, discussion action, IT services, master service between Amadeo Tech Services and miscellaneous in Colfax County. Ms. Avila.
Good morning, commissioners. This is just the same contract as last year, and the only thing that's different is the term. I know I sent you a couple of revised ones, and one of them was we changed the days or the dates, I should say, which is the term. And then we also corrected page 10, which was that little, I guess, little wording under county manager's name. So just requesting approval.
Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Weir. No comments.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So where y'all had in there, I can't remember which page it was on. I know the paragraph number was 1, but where it said starting November 8th, 2023 to November 8th, 2024, that's been updated?
Yes, sir. I did correct that.
Okay, that was the only issue I had with it.
Commissioner Kern?
No questions.
I don't have any either. Then I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, second, whatever.
Yeah, that works. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ward?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 20, discussion action, dissolving a deputy position to give an increase with those funds, a retention stipend using ARPA funds, or filling the vacant position. County Sheriff Baca.
Anyway, sorry. Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. So I've brought before you a few different options. One of the options that I brought will be promoting a sergeant tomorrow that would vacate a senior deputy position. With that position, I worked with Ty to break up that deputy position and provided a salary schedule for your review, which works out to basically $2.30 increase for everybody in the sheriff's office. With that being said, the temporary full-time positions through the grants will be, we're not actively filling those. We will continue to pay Virginia Strom out of that grant until we expend the secondary grant. And eventually when SHAR is done, Virginia will then be moved over to that position, and that position would go away as well. So that is one option that I bring before the commission today. The other option, working with the warden, and actually a comment that Commissioner Weir made several meetings ago, and working with Ty, there is ARPA funding still left after the generator project and after the scanning project. That total amount approximately is $566,316.51. Working with Ty, that would break up over 2 years, provided that we were to encumber the ARPA funding by December 31st of this year. We would have 2 additional years to expend that. That would be $5,000 for the next 2 years, 5,000 next year, 5,000 the year after that for only the uniformed personnel. in both detention center and the sheriff's office. That would break down further to $416 a month or $208 a pay period for each of those employees, which provide for better tracking based on the recommendation from Ty. I don't know if she's online or not, but those were recommendations that she had for me in presenting this. And then, of course, the other option would be to fill the deputy position that we're getting ready to vacate tomorrow with the promotion.
Thank you, Sheriff. Commissioner Weir.
Yeah, again, I think it would be prudent for us to understand our exact financial position before we made a move like this. So my thought is to postpone this until the next meeting and schedule it after we get a report from Ty, hopefully understanding exactly where we are and our obligations related to Tiger 9.
Thank you, Commissioner Weir. Commissioner Kern.
Yeah, I would support that, but I would just like to remind everybody that the ARPA funds do need to be encumbered by the end of the year. And I think this is a very good way of expending those funds and encumbering them and spreading that out over 2 years. I feel that, you know, with the action of the state in increasing the state police salaries as much as they have here in the last couple of years, you know, there's a push and an effort being made by counties and cities alike for the state to try to come up with some additional funding for county government and municipal government in being able to match what they have done on their side. I think that would buy some time for us to pursue those avenues, and also for the county to kind of get their feet under them and find out exactly where we are financially and going forward. So I would support doing at least the expenditure of the ARPA funds over the next 2 years for uniform personnel, and then we hold off on the decisions of the other two options until we find out more financially.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Kern. So I'm kind of a mix between the two. I would say no to the reallocating that one deputy position and splitting it up. That's due to the financial condition on where we sit. You know, it may change by next meeting. I'm okay with what you've talked about with Shar and Virginia. You know what I mean? Letting that play out there. I am also in favor with Commissioner Kern in doing the $10,000 over 2 years for the sheriff and the VMDC for uniform personnel. That does not include exempt personnel. Is that correct?
Correct.
No, I'm in support of the ARPA funds, and I feel like that's a good use of those funds, given that the sheriff office is probably now the lowest paid within the county because the city of Raton increases and the Angel Fire increases along with the state police. So hopefully this could go further to help retain deputies within the sheriff's office and the BMDC. So commissioners, did you want to take action just on the ARP funds today and postpone the rest?
I'm prepared to do that.
Commissioner Ware?
I still would prefer to wait because I want to understand the whole picture. These ARPA funds can be spent on many different things, not just this. And I just want to have the whole picture before I decided. So I vote no against these at this point, although I do agree that the ARPA fund option is viable option. I just want to understand the whole picture before I would vote in favor of it.
Thank you, Commissioner Weir. And with that too, correct me if I'm wrong, Sheriff, but, and I know Ty's not here. And I'm fine waiting to make sure the commission has the full information, and we'll still meet the deadline to encumber these funds. But we'd still have over, what, 200,000 left in ARPA funds, because this would take up, we have around 500,000.
Based on her rough numbers, we'd have about 146,316 left.
Okay. So yeah, those are different numbers than I had. So commissioners, do we want to make a motion to postpone to the next meeting?
So moved.
I'll second that. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. Moving on to item number 21, discussion action, set November 2024 and December 2024 regular commission meeting dates. I see minutes too many times. So commissioners, we usually meet once in November, once in December. If we were to do it November 12th would be considered the second Tuesday. I don't know how you feel about that.
We have to do it that day because we have to canvass the election. So I would suggest that day.
All right. Commissioner Ware, any opposition? Seeing none.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, I was on mute. I was asked to mute when I'm not talking because I guess my computer somehow interferes with the sound there. So, yeah, on the 12th, at this point, it looks like I wouldn't be available to attend on the 12th of November.
Canvass.
Yeah.
What about the 11th or 13th? No, the 11th is a holiday.
You have to canvass by the 12th. The 12th is the last day to canvass, right?
Will the 13th work?
Possibly. I mean, I could potentially attend via telephone, but I'm going to be in an area that I'm not going to have. I doubt that I'm going to have any internet access.
That's fine. By phone.
You talking the 13th or 12th?
Commissioner, where are you talking about, the 13th or the 12th?
Either one. That whole week.
Yeah. Let's just stick with the 12th then. We'll stick with the 12th, Commissioner Ware, and if you could just join us by phone.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Thank you. Looking to December 13th or December meeting. Our normal meeting would occur on the 10th. Will that work with the commission, or would it be beneficial to push it to the 17th? Just to allow more time for the county to bring in anything further that may be needed.
The 10th is BIPO.
So then,
In case I don't know if there's any staff that would be attending that, but
no, I think
17th.
No, I agree with you. I think the county manager will be in attendance at BIPO, and I might be, I'm not sure yet.
Mr. Chairman, I think we have some training, that, myself and the new commissioner were going to go up 11th and 12th.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and go with December 17th.
It works for me.
All right, at the regular time at 9 a.m. for both dates.
When,
Sure.
yeah.
On the 12th.
I make a motion that we set the November date to the 12th and December 17th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, when will the swearing in be? Get with the judge. Okay, thank you.
Moving on to item number 22 is manager's docket, county manager.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. My first, order of business will be to call Warden Slade up, in front of the commission. As we are all aware, Colfax County Via Maldonado Detention Center, Warden Regina Slade received official notification and congratulations on receiving accreditation by the New Mexico Adult Detention Professional Standards Council. Warden Slade, and I want to emphasize this, and her staff worked hard to meet the professional standards required to achieve accreditation. Warden Slade was promoted to warden. Colfax County Manager Monty Gore mandated that the new warden would get the jail accredited. I actually gave her 1 year to do that. She worked hard. We just couldn't do it in that 1 year. This process actually took 2 years to accomplish. V-Hill Maldonado Detention Center is the first smaller jail to achieve full accreditation. This is really a feather in the cap of Colfax County. Your efforts and the efforts of your staff to achieve accreditation are simply outstanding. And with that, I'd like to recognize you if you'll come forward. I would like to be giving you a raise for this, but with the financial situation, we don't, but I can honor you. With that.
That heavy or what?
Continuing on, Amandeo, can we look at some of the Chicory Creek photos? And Glenn, you may want to come up and address some of these as well as we go through them. I'm very proud of the job Road and Bridge is doing. On the Saturday morning, or actually I think it was Friday morning, we went out. I did not ask Glenn to go out. We both arrived at Chicorita Creek to kind of look at where the water was at. And I'm proud that I didn't have to ask Glenn to go. Let's go ahead. That's another one, Amandale. Let's go back right there. As you can see, when we got there, we have the main culvert. When Glenn had got there, we actually had debris that he removed from the other side of this. I think that probably aided in helping us to keep the flow running. This flow was very high. The big culvert there was completely submerged. The secondary culvert that you see there, and I just want to say, Colfax County did an incredible job on this. I had asked Glenn to bring in Bill Suazio when we were building this, who made some really good decisions and recommendations to put an overflow in and to reduce the size of the overall low water crossing. And that's what we did. And I think because of re-engineering it, I think that's why that low water crossing did not overflow. Glenn, do you have anything to add to that at Chikorita Creek?
When I got there that morning, there was a large tree. Like Manager Garsh stated that there was the main culvert, the 72-inch culvert was totally submerged, and there was a big tree it was bobbing, trying to get into that big culvert, and luckily I could reach it with a chain and my pickup and pull it out. The overflow pipe, the 24-inch overflow pipe, had a bunch of debris. It was the water line was probably about 3/4 of the way up that overflow pipe, and I kept working on it. I finally got a bunch of branches and debris away from that pipe, which I think relieved a bunch of
potential problems.
Yeah, of the flow. It opened it up. It was flowing real good when I left. The next morning I went back and checked it, and it had receded quite a bit. Maybe 1/4 of the overflow pipe was flowing at that time.
Thank you for saving that, Glenn. I feel like if you didn't pull that out, it would have probably.
The video you just seen there is Tanaha Low Water Crossing. That's located 15 miles south of Raton. In talking with Glenn, it's going to have to recede and dry out before Road and Bridge can replace material on the road. In addition to Tanaha, what other roads are basically going to need to dry out there, Glenn?
The Tanaha crossing, I had some employees check it yesterday. After it receded, it was passable if you're really careful. You could cross the Tanaha crossing. One employee this morning, first thing in the briefing, he thought that he could go down there with a front end loader and fill in that crossing. He was working on that this morning. So we're hoping probably by the time the meeting's over with, that crossing will be back in. And it's much safer to cross. And then we had several various washouts. A6 Canadian River Road. It runs from A7 Chico Road up to A9, the Tanaha Crossing Road. There's a set of culverts there. It probably eroded at 3/4 of that crossing. There's a bunch of large trees across that crossing. It is not crossable at this moment. We're waiting for it to dry out so we can repair that crossing at this moment. The Capas, A72 Capas Arroyo crossing it was submerged with water. Last time I seen it was Saturday morning. And there's a lot of silt in that crossing until it dries out, so we can get heavy equipment in there, probably a loader and a blade to clear the silt and clear the roadway. As soon as it dries out, we will do that. And then on A8, it's Laughlin Peak Road. Just a few miles from the west end going to it. We call it the black hole, but it washed out. You could you could cross it very carefully, but we closed it. It is not safe for people to cross. As soon as it dries out, we'll get a backhoe there. We had some concrete Jersey barriers. There was so much water force that knocked them down, and we're gonna have to fill in a bunch of the roadway there as well. I think all in all, according to what I heard, we had probably about 6 inches in the Maxwell area. Thank goodness we didn't have it all at one time. I think everything fared pretty well for the amount of water that we did receive. But as things dry up, we will put in the crossings. We'll get them back in shape.
Thank you, Glenn, for everything.
Yes, and we did have in the Tranchera area, A35 Tranchera Pass Road, there was a few large rocks. Seemed like the main thing in that area is a lot of the crossings had a bunch of debris, such as trees and tree branches and that type of stuff. Everything is passable. We just need to go through there. A lot of places we'll find out probably more today. We didn't get up all the county roads yesterday, but I have guys checking the roads that we didn't check yesterday. And we have a lot of places where there's maybe a foot where the water was to cross the road. We'll run blades through there and smooth it out, fill in the washouts. A lot of little spots around the east of Maxwell area, the Springer tract, east of Springer, I mean. And it's just a matter of it drying up at this point so we can straighten it out.
Thank you very much, Glenn.
I have one quick question. Did we notify the dispatch that those roads were out? Just in case EMS goes?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay. County manager, would you see that notify the sheriff or dispatch to?
I did set up barriers on them roads.
Yeah.
Saturday, I did set them up. So people have a warning.
Well, thank you. My thought is just emergency services, so they won't go out there and then have to backtrack.
Good point, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Glenn.
Thank you.
If you'll show the shot of the new the judicial building. So just a progress report on this. The exterior painting has been completed. And we received, I have received a lot of positive comments from the community. The pressure switches have been installed in the RTU units. Lighting issues have been resolved. The blower motor is scheduled to be was installed this week, or should be installed this week. And we're looking at replacing 6 of the air handlers, components in the air handlers to improve efficiency and make sure that they keep running. We did identify some issues with those where they were starting to wear out. So we're being proactive. One of the other things I have done is I've asked Fred to schedule a time with the courts to discuss repairs of the parking lots and sidewalks. I want the commission to know that we did have some flooding that occurred in the chambers in the back. And what caused that was a galvanized pipe that sprung a leak. And when maintenance went up to look at that, found that galvanized pipe has sprung multiple leaks. It's deteriorated.
Are you talking about this building?
I'm talking about this area right here in the back of the room, sir. So we are working on, because there's a high probability that it may spring another leak, we're not fixing the tile until we can have that pipe replaced. If we can, anyway, if we can go on to the front of the judicial building. So there's been a lot of discussion about this. We had concrete poured there, and especially with the exit door, it created egress problem. And especially, and I think a lot of it could have been weather and freezing and things like that. But that concrete pad would move up and basically block exit from the door. So this is a priority. This was a life safety issue. And we had to schedule this months and months and months in advance. Right now, in our area, trying to find qualified contractors can be challenging, but this is where it's at right now. They have removed those, and we should have some new pours taking place. And we will eliminate that issue. Once again, that was a pretty serious issue. I think it was probably the one of the main priorities that needed to be addressed and needed to be corrected, because we get a lot of public in this building, as a sheriff can attest to. And if ever we had an emergency or needed to get them out, those doors need to be operable. So it's been some time since this was identified, and I'm glad to report to the commission that it is being corrected. Other than that, we will continue to work with the courts and address some of the sidewalk issues and some of the parking lot issues as we move forward. Per the commission's request and directive, I've 30th of this month, I will meet with department heads, and we're going to be having discussion on time clock, and I'll be able to report the findings back to the commission at the next meeting. I wanted to remind everybody that Tiana's funeral services will be this Saturday at 1 p.m. at the Colfax County Event Center. The family is doing a potluck and is accepting donations. We have cards in HR office, and we'll accept check donations for the family as well. I do want to thank staff, and I want to thank staff in my department. We are extremely shorthanded, and a lot of us have had to take on even more. And even like Mike having to kind of step into a brand new position and learn the ins and outs of that. But we're making it work. And I also want to thank Glenn. I know his department's down, and I want to thank all the different department heads throughout Colfax County. We're facing some significant challenges, and because of that, it makes it difficult. And even as we've seen today, makes it difficult for the commissioners to approve positions. But I think they are being responsible to their fiduciary responsibility, and but we will get those positions hopefully replaced and can move forward. And that's all I have on my docket, sir.
Thank you, County Manager. Next, we'll move on to item 23, Commissioner's dockets. Commissioner Weir.
I have nothing at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Kern.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's about time or the timing, and Glenn Robert probably attested this for call for projects with New Mexico DOT. And I would request that we put in for the low water crossing at Tanaha. I know we've gone through this. We had applied before. So there should be a lot of the paperwork done on that. My suggestion would be to phase it, do design and everything in one phase, and then construction in the second phase. And I think that I'm not sure when that call comes up, and I don't remember the acronym exactly for where that needs to go, but I can get with either the county manager or Glenn on that. But I would request that we put in for those funds. We haven't put in for anything, I believe, since Blosser was funded. So there was a big news piece on the news yesterday about that these larger storms are going to become more the norm, and it just makes sense that we're better prepared for that. So I would ask that we do that, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. County Manager, if I'd like to pick up the cost for the rental of the event center for Tiana. So if you please just
Thank you.
let me know, and I'll cover that.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. I had a few questions on lodger's tax. Do you know if those positions have been filled yet? Yeah.
No, we are still waiting to hear back from that Teresa King.
Mike, will you
You wanna come up to the podium?
So yesterday we had a largest tax meeting and we kind of discussed that. We couldn't vote on anything, of course, because there's only two of the members. So I emailed Miss King yesterday after the meeting, but I'm still waiting to hear back from her. We're hoping we could hear back from her soon because in order to vote for stuff for large tax.
Thank you. I had a thought on this and it came with the Logistech's quarterly report. I know we have a lot of VRBOs and those Airbnb owners. I don't know if any of them reside within the county, but that might be a good place to reach out to. If getting into it, they might have they'd like to be on it.
Okay.
So thank you.
Okay, I'll look into that.
Commissioners, I also reached out to the National Trust for Historic Preservations on that grant we received. They emailed me back this morning and they stated that I guess would our decision be longer than 6 months to decide if we wanted to accept that or not. I've talked with Felicity with North Central. She says there might be funds available. I'll probably reach out to her again probably today or this week and see if she could help us with getting those funds. If they said if we will not have a decision to them within 6 months, I guess I would like to know if we will decide within 6 months or not. That they said we should just decline the grant and then we could always apply for it later without a penalty. So I don't know if there's any comments on that or just continue. Okay. I attended the leadership summit, just the Thursday, the convening of local leadership within Los Animas County, City of Trinidad, City of Raton, Colfax County, House Mayor was there, Cuesta Mayor, mayors from all around. It was very good and informative, looking to create collaboration moving forward between all local government entities. They plan to have a leadership summit again in March of this next year, and it'll be held in Trinidad, kind of along the same lines to better working together as a localized community. I also attended a trip to Washington, D.C. on behalf of Colfax County and the my goodness, sorry, I'm completely Thriving Communities Grant. And this was a grant that is part of Colfax County. The City of Raton's taking the lead on this. This trip did not cost the county anything. It was covered for by the federal government and the Department of Transportation. It was very informative and they talked about different situations and scenarios, how the Thriving Communities Grant is going to be able to better help our area. And they gave examples of how it's benefited other communities in the past. They also plan on taking a trip out here come March, and they even mentioned some higher ups might be coming. While I was there, we did have Secretary Buttigieg with the cabinet secretary for the federal DOT in attendance and did chat with us. At this leadership summit, we had, well, like I said, we had a lot of local, we had Commissioner Clay from Union County, their chairperson, there in the city of Clayton, their mayor. Something interesting though that I'd like to task the county manager with is they had a flight for life insurance that they were able to purchase on behalf of the full county. And they mentioned it was roughly around $75,000. I know we got hit with that one bill and it was over $90,000. And I don't know if the commission would have an interest in exploring that, or at least we could get some information on it and then decide if we would like to maybe purchase something along those lines for Colfax County. And I believe that's it. I guess, Madam Clerk, I was going to ask you, what day is election day? November 5th, the 5th of November. Yeah. Sure. I figure I'd just Because I didn't even remember when voting day was. I thought it was the second for some reason.
So as of about 8:14 this morning, we had 656 individuals that voted in person in the office. Yesterday, we did do mobile voting and Sarah and I did mobile voting in Angel Fire. System was a little slow, so it did take us a while to get the voters through. For the most part, most of them were okay with it. I just, we have, we did it yesterday, for the process. And then Sarah did several of the same day with registration. We have issued, or we've received 13 federal qualified elector ballots and 423 issued. So those are coming back.
Great. Well, thank you, Madam Clerk. Commission, is there anything further?
Oh,
yes.
So we will be in Maxwell. We'll be in Eagle Nest tomorrow from 10 to 4, and then we will be in Maxwell.
Great. Well, thank you, Madam Clerk. Our next meeting will be November 12th. We'll have a canvassing of the votes at 8:30, followed by a regular meeting at 9. Thank you all very much for coming, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Kern. Commissioner Ware.
Yes.
Yes, thank you all.